There we go. Right. And it's live. We're in the green for St. Patrick as well. So happy Paddy's Day, everybody. Let's get the scanners back up. S&P 500 selling off. Nasdaq down. Russell index down. Russell's the one that's been the worst hit from the whole banking debacle. Bitcoin over 27k today. Genius Group. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Amos, I've not decided. There's nothing on my watch list at the moment. I had a look at ENZ, but it's below the VWAP, so maybe not. Pax Medica, I'm a little bit, after yesterday, I'm a little bit cautious because they registered a shelf offering there in February, mid-February. Hub Cyber Security. So let's look at some of these. So ENZ. So this is Enzo Biochemical, and this is moving up with a reasonable catalyst, but it's very choppy. There's not much range on it, and whilst the volume's good, the volume's very good, like 30x or whatever it is. It's just, possible double bottom there, but it's just downwards trending from its highs. That's what I'm seeing there. Then we've got Hub Biosecurity. So Hub Cyber Security. Now this was a fairly recent IPO. It had a good day yesterday. Well, it's had what a good days over the last week. But again, I'm not seeing huge volatility with it. The range is like 3 cents, so we'll see. I mean, 3 cents on a $3 stock, that's 1%. Yeah, we'll see. Pax Medica, I've already called Pax Medica out in the Discord to beware. I'm not saying stay away from it. If it moves, great, take advantage, but be careful. It does have a shelf offering registered, so it could hit the market anytime. I'm not seeing any particular catalyst on Pax Medica as to why it's up. So the fact that they've got a shelf offering as well, that might have something to do with it. So that's another thing. Apart from that, there's nothing really jumping out. The crypto stocks, because Bitcoin's got the highest it's been since the collapse of Terra Luna last summer. So Bitcoin might have some movement today. Turn off the Bloomberg, it's distracting. And then, and then we've got the banking stocks as well. So we'll see. So that's what I'm looking at this morning at Amos. Morning, Kyle. Let me just mute that. Okay. Yeah, there's so much. I mean, the banks are all hard to borrow. So if I look at First Republic, which is one that got the bailout, it's down like nearly 20% already. So even though it's got a bailout, the market's just not confident. I say bailout, basically what's actually happened is they've not had enough liquidity, so a whole bunch of other banks have gone, okay, here, I'll lend you a tenner. You know, when I say tenner, 30 billion, but they've just got to deposited 30 billion amongst them, $30 billion into just to keep it afloat. But it's not their money. It still belongs to the depositors, and the depositors are the banks. So, you know, it's one of those things. So the bank's still looking. So that's First Republic. If we're looking at what else have we got? Pacific West, PacWest. Yeah, that's hard to borrow as well. Schwab was the only one that wasn't hard to borrow yesterday. Still isn't. Shortable as well. Not on the short sale restrictions list. So Charles Schwab might be one to look. It's a bit more expensive, but you can go both ways on Schwab. Western Alliance, hard to borrow, short sale restriction. A lot of the banks are just probably, if they're selling off, they're probably just not a good. They're not a good investment right now, even to the short side. So we'll see. We'll see. What do I think about SIV, about Silicon Valley Bank filing for Chapter 11? I think it's a good thing, and hopefully as a result of that, Dave will be able to get his money back and his profits. So the problem with that, so a lot of people I saw an article that a lot of people that have got puts, active in the money puts, are not able to exercise them. And therein lies half the problem. They're not able to exercise them because there's no shares to buy, to sell. So there's a whole issue around the options chains and stuff like that. So who's going to allow you to go short on a bank that's no longer in existence after the fact? It's going to cost them money. So yeah. HUBC, so that's Hub Cybersecurity. It's up quite a bit. I'm not seeing a specific catalyst today. Recent IPO though, so 26% today. It might make a move. I don't know. I'll take a look at that in a moment. So in fact, I just did take a look at that, didn't I? Hub Cybersecurity. So it's kind of ranging sideways, but between the VWAP right now. The range isn't great. 3 cents on the range. Spreads 1 cent. So yeah, I need a bit more volatility. I mean, it's up handsomely today, but I need a bit more volatility. Uninsured deposit. Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. But I think the less said about DJT's financial practices, the better. Morning, Captain. You say there's lots of movements in penny stocks, but there's not reliable movements. At the moment, it's a no trade day. I would totally agree with that, Captain. Nothing. I mean, Xpeng's had earnings this morning. So let's have a look at Xpeng, see what's going on with that, because they've got earnings this morning. Yeah. Not really a lot going there. Let's see. ENZ moving up. It's just taking the $0.25. Xpeng. Yeah, there's just no. I'm just not going to push it. It's been a really good week this week, so I'm not going to push it just for the sake. I mean, it's at the end of the week. What I'll do is I'll just keep an eye and wait for a good setup. Not seeing anything at the moment, but that's yeah. ENZ's, and it's lower than I like to trade. Below $3 is not really my forte. I do when something's particularly strong and breaks the $2 barrier, then I might look at it. But yeah, I saw that, Kyle. John, it's not. It isn't open an hour earlier since Monday. It's daylight saving, so you're not in the US, obviously, clearly, and the US had their clocks go forward on Sunday, Saturday evening, Sunday morning. In Europe, daylight saving takes place not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday. So what tends to happen is this happens twice a year. So the US has the daylight saving changes the first weekend of March and the first weekend of October, and the Europe and pretty much everywhere else has the daylight saving the last weekend of March and the last weekend of October. So that's why it seems like I'm trading an hour earlier. At the end of this month, it will go back. It will go back. Yeah, I'm not excited about ENZ right now either. It's I need to see it a bit more volatile than what it is. When it's moving up, it's got a high of 254 today. After hours, it went up to kind of 260 something, but no worries, John. Right, let's see what else is moving. Pax Medica, be careful with Pax Medica, Voss. I called this out in the Discord. Just be wary. I got hit with that. You saw. I don't know if you saw the recap or if you was actually during the live session yesterday when I got hit with that secondary offering, and I actually put a sell limit order in there and it just blasted straight past it. I didn't get filled, so I ended up having to put a marketable limit order in there just to get out on time. I still lost money with it, but there's a registration, a shelf registration there on Pax Medica as well from the 15th of February. So just be careful; they could hit the market at any time with that offering. So just be careful with that. Yeah, so it's not just hard to borrow stocks either, Kyle. We've got, if you look at all, The market seems to be pulling back. The banks are still selling off. There's a lot of volatility in the banks still at the moment. But the banks that are pulling back, they're both hard to borrow and on short sale restriction. Now, if you pay for the locates, which is essentially what you'll have to do if they're hard to borrow, if you pay for the locates, you're going to use them, but then it becomes more difficult to trade because you've got the short sale restriction. What is short sale restriction, you might be asking if you're new to the stream. So short sale restriction is where, so going short, let's rewind and tech time. For those newbies that are very new to the market, what is selling short? So going short on a stock or selling short is where you don't actually own the shares to start off with, but you sell them with a view that they are going to decrease in value. And then you can buy them back at a later date, and you make the delta between where you sold them and where you buy them, that's your profit. So it's the inverse of going long, which is where you buy, which is the normal practice. You buy something, it appreciates in value, and you sell it later at a higher price. This one, you sell it first and then buy it back. Now the thing is, how can you sell it if you don't own it? That's a good question. That's called going short. And to go short, what essentially you do is you borrow shares from your broker. Now, if your broker doesn't have shares, you can pay for them to do what's called a locate, and you can pay for the privilege of borrowing shares from somebody else. And there's a couple of routes that you can use, and what you'll do is you pay a premium to borrow those shares for a period of 24 hours or however it is. If you go longer than that, you have to pay again. And then there's overnight borrowing fees and other things. So it becomes more expensive to go short. So essentially what going short is you borrow shares at a premium price to sell later at a lower price. Or to buy back later at a lower price. The best analogy I've heard is basically saying that you've got the latest iPhone X or whatever it is, the iPhone 21, 23, whatever. You've got the latest iPhone, but the next one's coming out in 2 months. You don't realize that, and there's a few people who want the latest iPhone. Right? You're not using it because you're just not using it. So I say, can I borrow your iPhone? And I'll go and sell it at retail value to somebody who's desperate for an iPhone. Then the latest version of the iPhone comes out, and I'll go and buy the old version, which is now depreciated in price, and I'll give that back to you who I borrowed the original iPhone from, and you're none the wiser. You know, you actually might get a little, I'll borrow it for, and I'll give you a tenner for the privilege, I'll borrow it for 2 weeks or whatever. And I keep the difference because of how much it's depreciated and what I bought it from on the resale market. And that's essentially going short. Yeah, the CMEG at the moment are winding me up with the margin policy. They're supposed to have a good margin. Well, they did. When I first joined them, they had a great margin policy there, Kyle. It was like 6-1 on anything above. Pretty much there was no exceptions. It was 6-1 leverage on everything above $3. And then they moved the threshold from 3 to 5. That would have been the end of kind of 2021. And then they moved from a one size fits all. So everything above $5 you used to be able to get margin on. Now they have this risk management approach to leverage, where it depends what way the wind's blowing and how I'm feeling as to what leverage you can get. And if it's HKD, you have to have twice as much equity as you want to trade with. It's just getting increasingly more difficult. And then now they're messing about with the commission structures. So it used to be, I used to pay a fraction of a penny per share. So that was okay. The more shares you took, the more expensive it would be. So as the owner of a small account, commissions were relatively small. It didn't really matter. As I started trading larger, I welcomed the price per ticket because it worked out in my favor. Now it's price per fill. And while I was trading First Republic yesterday, I took a 2,500 share position, and just in one transaction, one ticket, there was 7 fills. So it's like $3 to fill. It's just so it's becoming more and more expensive. So it took for that 2,500 share position, just in commissions alone, I was over $20 in commissions on that one transaction, plus ECN fees and regulatory fees as well. Morning, Tom. Hope you're having a good St. Patrick's Day. I'm drinking tea, not Guinness. I might have a pint of Guinness later. Just the crack. So Dublin city centre will be at a standstill in about an hour for the next couple of hours, with the parade and everything. Yeah, there you go, Cal. Yeah, limit orders, Alex. Limit orders. And with even with market orders, it's just fill me at whatever price is available. That's essentially what a market order is. So you might end up with multiple fills at different prices. With a limit order, at least multiple fills, you're guaranteed at a certain price point. Yeah, because crypto stocks are waking up because the Bitcoin broke 27K, and as far as I'm aware, it was holding it nicely this morning. It broke 27. Well, tapped 27. Went up to it just broke 27. Depends on which chart you're using, but went up to 27. So just over 26 and a half. So it seems to be holding 26 and a half at the moment. So that's Bitcoin, and this is the highest Bitcoin has been since the Terra Luna collapse last summer. See, I'm not seeing a double bottom on FRC really. That spike. FRC. Here we go. This spike down. I'm not seeing that as a double bottom. It actually brought lower lows here, so I'd be very surprised if that rallies and moves back up. On the higher time frame, that just looks like a bit of a bull flag, if anything. This move here, but look. I wouldn't say it's odd, but it can happen. So you can get filled if you've got your stop loss and you drag it below the action, you can get filled at whatever. It really depends on because basically someone is trying to you're prepared to sell it at X price, and somebody is trying to buy at the best price. So there is a chance that you will get filled. It doesn't happen very often, but you'll get a poor fill, and that comes with slippage as well. So. And it depends on the spreads as well. HFTs. The thing is, HFTs, the algorithmic traders, the high frequency traders, they account for 60-70% of the market. You know, so two-thirds of the market volume is institutional high frequency traders. Well, it's not so much they can, money never sleeps. They did. Is there short interest on that? Let me have a look for you. I don't think there's a huge amount of short interest because it is a relatively or registered short interest. It's a relatively new stock. It's IPO a couple of weeks ago, so short interest. No, I'm not getting any short interest at all. So there will be shorts there, but probably not a huge percentage. But Hub Cybersecurity. It's only been trading a couple of weeks, like I say. So let's go back to Hub Cybersecurity, since I'm not going to be trading short on these. There's not a lot of volatility at the moment in the market. It's yeah. So started at the beginning of the month. First of March was the first day's trading. Yeah, and that's half the problem with CMED getting expensive as well. But look, see, the CMED getting expensive is one thing, but you've still got to, better the devil you know and all that kind of stuff. I've not really had any problems. I mean, I'm getting a bit annoyed. It's more of an irritation than a hindrance to being profitable to trading, and sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get elsewhere. Do I consider moving back to Interactive? That's another question. Yeah, I mean, I could move across to Interactive, but there's a lot more. I don't want to be overexposed with Interactive. That's my problem with them, because I've got my pensions with Interactive, and I've got savings account. I've got a few other, I've got more there with Interactive than I have with CMEG. So I can move across to Interactive. I've been looking at the options are limited in Europe for day traders. That's the problem. Stock market day traders. If you're trading Forex, fill your boots. There's 1,000,001 Forex brokers that you can trade with in Europe, and most of them, and to be fair, most of them are a piece of crap. You'll get a MetaTrader 5 as the platform, which is it's not the best. MetaTrader is just not the best. I mean, you'll get some Forex brokers saying MetaTrader is the best thing sliced bread, and it's just not, particularly for trading equities. It's okay for trading Forex, but for trading equities, no. And then I've looked at a couple of other brokers. They either PDT, they're either leveraging the PDT rule. They don't work with a direct access platform. The platform that they do use is clunky. You can't use hotkeys or hot buttons or scripts or anything like that. There's a number of different things you've got to weigh up. The options are much better in the US, for sure. In North America, if you're in Canada or the US, North America, the options are much better. But in Europe, we're limited on the number of brokers that we can actually trade with. If you're in the UK, it's even worse, because you've got the whole PDT rule again because of Brexit. And I was speaking to one broker, trying to get an understanding from one broker there, and I applied to open an account with them, and they wouldn't, because it said I had a US passport. Clearly a clerical error. So I got in touch with them. I said, I'm not got a US passport. I'm not a US citizen. I'm a UK citizen based in Ireland. And they said, oh no, well, I meant that we don't do business with the UK. I said, I'm not in the UK. No, but you've got a UK passport. I went, but that's besides the point. I'm resident in Ireland. I'm wearing it. It's green. So resident in Ireland wasn't good enough for them, but in terms of tax and business level, it doesn't matter. So I was like, look, you can't discriminate me based on nationality. That's against EU regulations. If what you're actually saying is that it's because of Brexit and things like that, you can't discriminate based on someone's passport. You can't discriminate based on someone's nationality. That's illegal. But I thought, you know, it's not worth it. I could potentially sued them, but it's not worth it. Thank you, Mox. Well, it's a quiet pre-market so far, guys. We've got just over half an hour to the bell. Half an hour to the open. It seems like, look, I'm watching for a bounce today. I'm definitely watching for a bounce, and I'm not going to go short on these banking stocks. They're just hard to borrow. Short sale restriction. If I go short, I might short Schwab on the main account. It's not going to the pinks. It's being liquidated. It's the file for Chapter 11, so it's not going to the pinks. It'll get broken up. Well, no, yesterday wasn't so much the bounce. Yesterday we got a catalyst that provided a rally. So with FRC in particular, and the others rallied in sympathy with it. So FRC got a $30 billion bailout from some of the bigger banks, and as a result, it rallied. And I just happened to be in that as the news came out, which was certainly good for me. But that wasn't the bounce. What we've now seen is since then. Let's go back to. I'll show the 15-minute on FRC to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the 15-minute on FRC. FRC, we got a little bit of a bounce there, but then the news came out and we got this catalyst here towards the end of the day, and it shot up and it went kind of like $12, $13 or more, $15 or whatever it was. It shot up. Huge moves. And that was the reaction to the bailout. Now, once everything had calmed down, it pulled back and just started consolidating. There's a little bit of a pump towards the end of day, and then it sold off after hours. There's a little bit of a rally, and now it's selling off again. So we're getting back down to this low here. This is what I'm watching. So $24. So I'll mark that on the chart. So $24 is where I'm expecting a bounce. We might get one for 25, but I'm watching 24. $24. And if we get a bounce at $24, we might then see a bit of a bounce there. Will we go up to 34 and get a $10 move? I don't think so, but we might get $4 or $5. But yeah, going back to Silicon Valley Bank, it's yeah, I saw that. Going back to Silicon Valley Bank, it's not coming back. The shares will not be traded again. It will be delisted. It's not going to the pink sheets. It will be delisted, and if you're short, you should get a nice little windfall. It's filed for Chapter 11, so it's basically the bank is bankrupt. The shares are worthless. The bonds are worthless, and anybody that was holding either, I'm sorry, you've lost your money. Simple as that. If you have options in them, like puts in the money, that's proving the grey area. In the money puts, in theory, your broker could hold on to until it unravels. Your broker could hold on to those because and not allow you to exercise those options and go short because there's no shares to borrow to go short. So that could be a problem for people that are in the money puts and have options. But if you are actually short, you should get paid out because you've borrowed shares and they've gone to zero. So you're under no obligation to pay back the value of those shares to whoever it was you borrowed them from. That's the thing. Those shares are now worthless. So the whole point of closing that transaction is that you close it at the value that those shares are worth. And if they're worthless, you don't have to pay anything back. So that's going short if you get caught in a stock that goes to zero. In theory, you should get a nice payout. If you get puts, historically, some brokers would pay out, but it's up to the broker. So all that to do with so if a company goes if it gets delisted, and goes to the pinks, that's different from becoming bankrupt and being defunct as an entity. So if it gets delisted, no longer meets the exchange regulation requirements, it gets delisted and goes to the pinks, the penny stock, over-the-counter market, the OTC market. Then you could then effectively, or your broker that can then buy those shares in the over-counter market for you to cover your position, and you can still get paid, and you'll still get paid out. Now, the likelihood is there will be a bit of a rally, but a bit of a short squeeze in those kind of scenarios. But it's not likely to be a short squeeze to the amount that's going to cost anyone any money that was holding a short position. But I think that's what a lot of brokers have been doing at the moment. They're holding those short positions. The accounts have been suspended, or at least the positions have been suspended, and the equity frozen until the fallout from the regulatory investigation and shutdown comes to fruition. It's just filed for Chapter 11. That's got to go through, and then when that goes through, the bank gets liquidated in full. The depositors' money all gets kind of returned to the depositors to move from Silicon Valley into another bank, and because the deposits have got a government guarantee on them, and if they're under 250k, I think it is, then they're guaranteed, and if they're above that, the government's giving a guarantee. So once that gets to fallout, Silicon Valley will be no more, and they'll not be hitting the pink sheets. They'll not be. The broker will be able to close that position and give the whichever punter was short the money back. So. Okay, so this recent IPO from February, Lucy Scientific Discoveries. So this was an IPO back in February. We're looking at whatever it was, 9th of February. So it doesn't go down as what I would class as a recent IPO. The recent IPO for me is something in the last 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I get where you're coming from. It's not been trading that long, and it's $1.50, so it's a bit below what I like to trade. How do I know so much? I'm a bastion of useless information. Trade on one. When I first got into it, I submersed myself into it and did a lot of studying, learned a lot. When you actually, a lot of people are lazy, and this is a big problem for one of the reasons why people are not profitable when they get into trading. They're lazy. They don't take the time to educate themselves. They don't take the time to learn about the markets. And every time I come across a situation, because I don't know everything, I'm not some kind of guru that knows everything about the stocks. I'm just a fat guy on the internet with an opinion, okay? But when I come across somebody asks me a question I don't know the answer to, I'm quite happy to sit here and say, good question, I don't know the answer to that, let me have a quick look. And Google is your friend. If you can't find it, if I can't find it like immediately just by hitting a Google search, because and I don't mind doing that within reason, of course. If everybody's just hitting me with questions and I'm constantly Googling, then ChatGPT just sync that in with voice recognition, you'd be a lot better. But if it's something I genuinely don't know, then I like to understand it and get to know it, and why is it important, and what impact does it have on me going forward. So like for example, yesterday, getting hit with that algorithmic flush. What was that? Why is that? Okay, well, it was a market offering. Okay, well, secondary offering, where does that come from? How can I protect myself against that? you can look at the SEC filings. Well, where do I find the SEC filings? Well, there's a nice little tab in Benzinga you can go to. Okay, well, there's loads of filings. There's Form 4s, Form 8s. Which one am I looking for? And you actually start doing... so you start doing that, you know? You learn about the market and pick it up. Educate yourself. What you don't know, the thing is, I don't know what I don't know. There's that much I don't know. There's so many people more knowledgeable than me, and I love getting into conversations with people where I'm a moron, because I know I've come out of that conversation. You know, I've grown. Every time I have a conversation where I'm the moron, I come out of the conversation that little bit more intelligent. Well, this was up at this level on the 13th. So on the daily, it's been weak on the daily. It was due a bounce. If you look at it on the daily, there's not a lot else that I'm actually kind of watching at the moment. This is the daily chart. So this is where it started trading. It sold off right from the off. Then it had a couple of good days before selling off again. So it's longer term downwards trending. If it gets above $2, I might be interested, but I don't trade below $2. And it seems to be struggling up at that $0.75 level at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see. GCT had earnings today. XPeng had earnings today. Cedar Space had earnings yesterday. There just really isn't a lot moving at the moment, up or down. There's volatility in some of the banks, but the range of movement is not, you know. My charts have red and green altogether. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Don. Yeah, Credit Suisse is looking a bit dodgy, if you ask me. Not about shaky. They've had a verbal agreement to give them support, but there's no cash actually gone in there, so I don't know. I think the market as a whole, the banking sector as a whole, is just hey Minimox on Instagram. The banking sector as a whole is just, there's no confidence. I think the last time we had a debacle in the banking sector was in 2008, and look where that got us. That lack of confidence. People are thinking they look after themselves, you know. It might push. It's coming back into the VWAP, so we might get a VWAP bounce here. I hope we'll get a VWAP bounce. Which platform, Ram? DAS Trader, DAS, so Direct Access Software, that's the acronym, DAS Trader Pro. That's the platform. There we go, there's a flush. Just wasn't feeling it. There's just nothing really jumping out at the moment. We've got 15 minutes. We've had a couple of days like this in the past couple of weeks where nothing happens until the bell, and it might be like 5-10 minutes before we start seeing some real volatile action. But look, it dropped 20. That dropped from 170 to 140. So the 30-cent drop in that one candle, which when it's from a once, $1.70 stock, dropped 30 cents. That's ouch. That's what, 20% in almost 20% in 1 minute. Just ouch. Right, okay, to how to avoid the PDT rule. So there's 3 ways you can do that. First way is get yourself a broker that doesn't enforce it. So what I mean by that is like the Capital Markets Elite group or something like that. It's an offshore broker. Now, if you're going to be using an offshore broker, you want to make sure that they're insured. You want to make sure that they are adhering to some kind of legislation. You want to make sure that they're insured and that they are regulated in some. And just do a bit of a background check. How much have they got under? How much have they got assets under management? Just how much are they insured for? How long have they been in business? Do some reviews, etc. So if you're going to get a broker, an offshore broker that doesn't enforce the PDT rule, that's one thing. Or you could just live in a country that you don't have to worry about PDT rule. So go and live in the Bahamas. There's no PDT rule there. Or Puerto Rico. That's another thing. I moved to Canada, as Calvus says. The other way you can do it is by having a larger account, of course. The thing with the PDT rule, and for those of you who don't know what the PDT rule is, brokers that are regulated in the US have to obligated to enforce what's known as the pattern day trading rule. Now, the pattern day trading rule basically states is if you've got a starting equity position below $30,000 at the start of the day, then you are only allowed to take 4 day trades in any 5 consecutive day period. So that means you can be four intraday trades today, and then you can't trade for a week. Or it could be 1 trade today, 1 trade tomorrow, 1 trade the day after, and the day after, and then you have to wait another day so you can repeat it and do it all over again. So that's the pattern day trading rule. So if you're above $30,000, you can trade as much as you want. Now, the other way you can do it is by trading in a cash account. And if you've got a small account, trading in a cash account has its limitations, but there's no limit to the amount of trades you can take within the scope of your equity. Okay, what that means is you can trade it as many trades as you want intraday in a cash account, but then you've got what's known as T+2 settlement. So the trades that you've taken today will be locked up until it's settled in 2 days' time. So not tomorrow, but the day after. Well, that's the weekend. So not Monday, but Tuesday. It's trading days. So you've got T+2 settlement rule there. The other thing that you've got there in a cash account is because you've got no leverage on no borrowing facility, you can't go short. You've got no leverage, so you can't get any. You have to trade within your equity position. And the other thing there is that if you want to get around the PDT rule and trade every single day, the best thing to do is kind of split your equity up into 2. So if you've got a $5,000 account, treat it as $2,500 accounts. You trade $2,500 today, $2,500 tomorrow, then on Monday, and then on Tuesday, the $2,500 you traded today plus any profits you'll be able to trade that on the Tuesday, and you just alternate the 50% of your equity, and you alternate it each day. That's the way. Or have 2 accounts. You're trading one account today and another account tomorrow, and another account, this account the day after, and the tomorrow's account the day after that. So, startups are definitely overexposed in the market. So a couple of things I would call out about this whole debacle here. Pace here. 3, 4. What's a round trip between friends, Clarty? How do I feel about Webull? They don't cross my mind, Amos. I don't trade with Webull because I'm not in North America, but I know a few people that do, and it's commission-free broker. They've got their own platform. It's not direct market access, so the spreads are wider, the executions are a little bit slower, but that's the price you pay for not having commission. So it's a swings and roundabouts kind of scenario. What you lose on the swings, you gain on the roundabouts, and vice versa. So Webull is serving a purpose. Webull have basically come in and stepped into the breach that Robinhood created this market. Robinhood created this commission-free brokerage market. Then they got found out a couple of years ago with the whole GameStop and AMC squeezes and the meme stock era. They got found out that they're actually, robbing the poor and keeping it for themselves, instead as opposed to robbing the rich and keeping and giving to the poor, which is the whole Robin Hood scenario. By payment for order flow and making profits on the spreads, and that payment for order flow in Europe is illegal. So it's not in the UK, it isn't, but in most European, across the EU it is, because it's illegal in certain EU countries, and that makes it illegal across the whole EU. So payment for order flow cannot take place in Europe. So Robinhood won't trade in Europe for that very reason. Webull have stepped into the breach there with as an alternative to Robinhood. They were competing, but they've picked up a huge chunk of market share that Robinhood lost as a result of them switching off the buy button when GameStop was squeezing. So no, there are no volatility halts in pre-market. You can get halts news pending and halts pending investigation pre-market, but just not volatility halts. Yeah, it's a real pain in the hole. If your account gets frozen and then you have to go through the whole process again, and very often it's just easier just to set up another account, either with the same broker or with a different broker, or So Dave the Trade will tell you straight away that you can get halts pre-market. Well, we all saw it last Friday when Silicon Valley Bank got halted pre-market. I was lucky enough that I got out of my short position about 3 minutes before it halted. A few other people weren't so lucky, and one had a sizable position in his trade, and it's still in there. So it's frustrating and irritating, but that will be in his favour when it comes out in the wash. Halts pending investigation are the worst. When I first started trading, I started trading on 100 shares. So it depended on the size of the stock, but it was usually between 100 shares, 100 share lots, 100 shares, 200 shares, 300 shares. I had my button set up to 100, 200, 300, 500. That was it. But 100 shares, a starting position for me was 100 shares. Like now I've got my button set up for as low as 100 shares, but I've got 25,000 share buy and sell button. Very rarely use it, very rarely use that, but it's there when I do it. Hey Robbie, I'm good. How's your St. Patrick's Day coming on? So that was LSDI popped up and pretty much drop back down again as quick as it popped up. So just be careful with some of these stocks. Let's have a look. We've got 5 minutes to the open. There's nothing really jumping out saying this is what's worth trading today. This is where the activity is going to be. I think the banks might have some volatility today. I think we might be worth looking at some of these banks for a move to the upside. If they get to the downside. Let's have a look at. So this is Hub Cyber Securities below the VWAP. It's ranging sideways. I mean, there's not a lot of volatility in it either, so probably not worth a trade just yet. We'll see what happens when the volume comes in at the open. First Republic, this went up yesterday up to 40. I think it tapped $40 at the peak before it got rejected at $40. Mind you saying that, this was a $140 stock just a little over, well, a month ago. Yeah, well, if you're holding it long, it's worthless. If you're holding it short, you should get the payout. Part two. Yeah, Marathon Digital, Riot Blockchain, a lot of these crypto stocks, Cypher Mining, they're all moving today based on a higher Bitcoin. So I say that as this pulls back a little bit. So this is just ranging across the VWAP sideways at the moment, but it's gapped up overnight, went up to 840s. So high of day at the moment, 845. But that's Marathon Digital for you. Yeah, FRC, it seems to be bottoming out. I'm not going to say it is bottomed out yet, but it seems to be bottoming out at the moment. I'm just a little bit cautious. There's nothing really. Silvergate, I thought that was defunct now. Silvergate. 227. So we're looking at FRC at $27. PacWest. Well, we've got Schwab coming up to test that 57, that magic $57 level again. So I called this out yesterday. I'm just look at Schwab for a second. Where is Schwab? I called this out yesterday. I'll just put a dotted line on here. 57. Called this out yesterday. This is where I went short yesterday at 57 because on previous days it proved to be a key level. As you can see here, key level again, key level again. Let's put it on the 5 minute. Let's see what's doing here. There we go. That's a key level of support there. Go back to yesterday. That's where I went short on it. Resistance. If we go back a couple of days in a row, it was 57, 57. So key level is 57 on Schwab. It really is. It's proven to be a very important level. It's coming up to that level again now. But we've got an inverse head and shoulders here. There's one shoulder, there's the head, and there's the other shoulder. Typically these break upwards. Let's see if we've got a similar pattern on any of the other finance stocks. shoulder, head, less pronounced, but it's still there. Shoulder. Yeah, so we've got inverse head and shoulders on all these bank stocks, which typically will break upwards. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying typically, well, with the exception of PacWest, that's not a head and shoulders. That's just a mess. But the rest of them, they've got inverse head and shoulders. Now, typically, with inverse head and shoulders, over 80% of the time, it will break upwards. You've always got that 15, 20% of the time that it doesn't. So you need to manage your risk accordingly. FRC key level. Let's just put a line there and take a look, shall we? We've got less than a minute, so I'll do it quickly. So yeah, 28's a key level, 28, 28, 28. Yesterday, rejected at 28 there. Pre-market 28, yeah, 28's an absolute key level on First Republic and previous days as well. Where it came down to 28 pre-market on the big day, Monday or whatever. So I'm going to switch these scanners over to regular session. We've got 5 seconds. Only on time. Oh. ENZ looking like making its go back over 220s. I'll let you watch the open on FRC. I'm going to take a bathroom break. Okay, so now we've got our opening range high, $29. Schwab sold off. So Schwab went in the opposite direction to everything else. So that's interesting. CRBP, that's sold off. IVA is halted. Let's have a look at IVA. Yeah, no volume. $36 range. No volume. It's interesting. Look at Schwab though. Schwab just vomited at the open. He got rejected at that 57 level versus FRC went the opposite direction. So the banks are actually diverging now. Let's see. ENZ just quick pop and then a drop, and that's I kind of was feeling that that was going to be the case with a lot of these pop and drop at the open. When they're not looking that strong, but they start to make a move up, you think, oh, well, we're going to get up to the VWAP, or, you know, when they're starting off below the VWAP, you always want to break the VWAP or break a key milestone level. 29 is a key level here on FRC, as well as 28, whole dollar. 28 is the big one, though, which we just saw. So it needs to hold 28. Well, it's just broke that down. So are you shorting that, Kyle? Xpeng had earnings today. Let's have a look at Xpeng. Where are you? Somewhere. XPath. Xpeng had earnings this morning. They weren't the best, if I'm being honest. The Xpeng earnings. I don't know about that, Wade. Schwab and First Republic were on Monday, Tuesday. They were pretty much in tandem. On Wednesday, Schwab started to consolidate sideways and less volatile moves than FRC. And yesterday, pretty much the same. Whereas today, it's the complete opposite direction. So now we're getting a huge sell-off on Western Alliance. Wow. 32.59 is the halt level. There we go, we're at the halt level. Not quite halted yet. Might be a false halt. Wait for it. Still not halted. There you go. Yeah, they're all halting down, with the exception of Schwab, which is now moving up. So, go figure. So Schwab sold off and is now moving up, whereas the others moved up and then sold off. So, interesting. I'm just not seeing anything to the long side, guys. I was hoping to be trading long today, but I'm not seeing any. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, that's a 50-cent stock. I'm not touching it. Q-Tech. I'm not touching that. DBI, lower volume, but I'll have a look anyway. I like Schwab, and there's no problem with Schwab is I'm on the small account. I've not got a huge account size. Mind you, I've got leverage on Schwab. Schwab does have leverage. DBI, no volume. Yeah, no, absolutely. They're doing polar opposites today. But I'm saying earlier in the week they weren't. Well, that just did nothing, regardless of news. Yeah, it's gonna be. It looks like it might be one of those no trade. I've not had a no trade day for quite some time. It's looking like it's going to be a no trade day at this rate. I'm not seeing any volatility to the upside, and I'm not in the humour to start locating shares to go short and then. PacWest. PacWest seems to be moving with Schwab. ENZ was a big mover pre-market, but since the open, it's just sideways chop. up and down across the VWAP. This is why it's important. Well, it's not important. It's all about personal preference, how you set your charts up. But this is why I like to have the VWAP on my charts, on all my charts, from an intraday trade. Once you get to daily, they get rid of the VWAP. It doesn't mean anything. Okay, it loses its potency once you got to the daily chart. But intraday, for intraday trading, for day trading, the VWAP is extremely strong indicator. It's a great indicator of intraday trend. So if you're getting action like this on ENZ, it's just chopping sideways. It's not trending in either direction. If the price action is taking place above the VWAP, then you're upwards trending. If it's below the VWAP, it's downwards trending. When it's choppy sideways like this, it's not doing anything. It's a day for shorting, quite frankly. Let's have a look at Groupon. Yeah, hard to borrow, short sell restriction. That's why I'm a long bias trader, because they make it difficult to short a lot of the time. This is halted to the downside after a massive sell-off overnight. And tell you what, I need to get rid of some of these, get rid of some of this junk from a volume perspective. If it's not got the volume, I don't want to be seeing it on my scanners. I'll just increase the volume requirements here. It's not traded a million shares, I don't want to know. XPEV, we're on earnings, not that volatile. It is moving up. XPeng, it's 10% up on the day. Over the blocks, but it's probably going to sideways. It's just it's earnings. It's not like it's got a big catalyst, and the earnings were kind of mediocre at best. Yeah, no, there's leverage on Schwab. There's leverage, and it's not on short sale restriction. So that's you can go either way on, and it's easy to borrow as well. So Schwab across the board, with capital markets. See, it says here that how many zeros is that? It says a billion shares. I could short it's shortable for a billion shares. I don't even think there's a billion shares in the float. Let me have a quick look. That vexes me sometimes. Charles Schwab. They were my first brokerage that I ever had back in about 2010. Charles Schwab. First ever brokerage account was with them. Okay, how many float? Oh yeah, there is a billion shares in the float. 1.6 billion. This is what's known as a high cap. 1.6 billion shares in the float at $55 a share tells you the market cap of this company. $105 billion market cap. But FRC came back, reached it. It's a big. So let's see. Got rejected at the VWAP before. Is it going to sell or is it not? I'm not overly convinced on anything right now. If you're seeing something that I'm not, let me know. That was halted, but there's no volume. Yeah, it's just choppy sideways. That might do something a little bit later, but it needs to get over 230 to do it for me to be interested. Is it really? Let's have a look. I got rejected at the 200, funnily enough, right on the 200. It's above the VWAP. As long as it stays above the VWAP, we might see an upwards move. I'm just very choppy at the moment. But then again, saying that, these banks have moved big. They've moved big in the afternoon this week, in particular from about 11 till 2 is when these banks have been the most volatile. When we've seen them move the most. But I was just about to switch back over to ENZ as it broke 230, and guess what? I was looking at it moving up on the other chart on the other screen. I've lost the ability to type. I seem to have lost the ability to spell and type at the same time. It did move after, but it moved to the downside. Though that's the problem with FRC. It moved huge to the downside after the market closed. There was just all kinds of, and you do get that. You get a lot of institutional. A lot of institutional movements on stocks outside of market hours. Yeah, that's it. I know I lost the ability to do that long ago, but thanks for reminding me. I don't know about leadership, Vols, but today's not a day to be going swinging for the fences. Just trust me on that. There's a lot of chop. There's not a huge amount of good moves out there. A huge amount of chop, chop, chop. It's chop liver. That's the markets. Give it. Look. Let's see what happens. Don't force it. The market will not bend to your will. Just remember that. You've got to bend to the market's action. Don't try and bend the market to your will, because it just won't happen. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Robbie, that FRC right now, you just got a bailout from a bunch of other big banks. So do you know what? The government conspired with these big banks. They conspired. They went and worked with these big banks to orchestrate this bailout for FRC. Now, the fact that we've got the bigger banks that are bailing out the smaller banks will mean that we'll get tightening regulations around lending, which will make it more difficult for smaller businesses and startups to get funding and liquidity, which will mean that they will have to start making cutbacks in terms of their own credit facilities. A bit of a credit crunch in the particularly in the SME space, which means they'll have to make cutbacks in terms of their expenditure and the bottom line, which means we're going to get more unemployment, particularly in the US. This is where I'm talking about, which will then higher unemployment numbers is what the Fed's actually been hoping for, which will then hopefully start to tackle inflation, which means that they can start, easing up on the fiscal tightening with the interest rates. So I think someone's trying to play 3D chess here. So someone in the Fed's probably playing 3D chess. Yeah, it's back up to that 28 level. Needs to get over it though. Let's have Federal. First Republic Bank. Federal Republic Bank's a completely different beast. You've got a double bottom here though. On this one, on the 1 minute, nice W shape. So, but as long as it's below the VWAP, it's selling off. So I want to see take the VWAP and hold it. I want to see candles closing above the VWAP. Not got enough to take 1,000 shares on this either, so I'll switch over to my main account and take a quick look. Let's see. So it's getting rejected there at the VWAP again. She did well, to be fair, Vol, she did well to get profitable on that. Very, very choppy that one, Vol. CNZ. Now we've got double top there on 2 candles, rejected at 28.60. Got a high of day of $29. So we'll see this break the high of day. That's why it's a key level. Do I think the Nasdaq is going to keep the uptrend? Yeah, they're doing the opposite to each other. Schwab and FRC doing the opposite to each other. Yeah, Don, do you know what? If it's not working for you, look, who was it said a break-even day is like a losing day? It's not. It's not at all. A break-even day is not a losing day. It's not green, but it's better than a losing day. Yeah, it's one of those days. You know what? I think we're chasing the rate, but it might be better to just look at the SPY. You look at let's look at the market. I've not even looked at the market today, so let's look at the market. Again, this is sideways choppy. So you're going to get stocks that are making highs and stuff, but then they're pulling back down. Let's have a look at some of these stocks that make up the S&P 500. Let's look at like the likes of Nvidia. Choppy. Microsoft just broke new highs, so we're getting no consistency in the market at all. What do you trade with? It's just difficult to. just difficult right now. Yeah, I'll give it a look. I'll give it a look. LXPH. Well, if you've been calling that for a while, there's no volume though. It's halted, but there's no. It's a Leixing Education, Chinese stock. Yes, it can, Alex. If Google don't compete with it, it's halted to the upside, 248, but there's no volume, so just be careful. I said no volume. I mean, it's like 70,000 shares have been traded across the whole day. It might gap up over $3. It looks like it's going to resume at like 320-ish. But I wouldn't. I'm personally, you fill your boots. You do you, boo-boo. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a fat guy on the internet with an opinion, and my opinion tells me to stay away from this one. The volume isn't there to underpin any moves. I don't know what the... let's have a quick look at what the catalyst is, if anything. Come on, Benson. You're my go-to person for stuff like this. So, Leixing Education Holdings. Is there a catalyst? That's the question. No, there's no catalyst either. I'm not seeing any specific catalyst. Let me just look at the SEC filings to see if there's any shelf registration. Yeah, there is. So there's oh no, that's Genesis Unicorn Capital. Why? Why has that got anything to do with this one? Yeah, there's no. I can't see any catalyst for a big. The thing is that volume and volatility. It's got volatility clearly, so we're looking at like 16 cents is the ATR at the moment. Got volatility but no volume. So then you look at, okay, well, it might just be starting off. Let's look at what the biggest candle is. The biggest candle is only 24,600 shares. There's only been 70,000 shares traded in total today. 601 trades in total. So just be careful, because this could be a rug pull. The lack of volume on it, just be very careful. Just be very careful. Okay, so we're going to pull back now to the VWAP. We've got to pull back to the VWAP. We might now look at taking small size, because I'm not feeling it today. I might just take a small size. If it breaks over 29, goes back over 29. We tested 29, got up to 29.20, rejected, came back down to the VWAP, bounced, and that VWAP bounce can be very powerful. You want to see it move up. You want to see it move up on good volume as well. Let's get rid of this detail. So, look at the scanners here. The scanners are all things that are either red trying to go green or red going even deeper red. We've got Enzo Biotech, which I don't like the look of. That's actually breaking lows now. And we've got Pax Medica, which is looking well shady for me. It's the only two that, on reasonable volume, that are making moves up to the upside. It's just not a day for making. Certainly not for going in heavy. Xpeng's moved up a little bit, but it's not, again, Xpeng. The volatility is just not there with this one. It's 8 cents is not too bad, but for a $9 stock, it's what, 1% range. This had earnings, and I say the earnings weren't great. They weren't bad, but they weren't great either. Yeah, Vols, enjoy. Have a pint of Guinness from me, or get Bailey's, whatever your favourite Irish tipple is. And happy St Patrick's Day. I hope you do find your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And as FRC, let's go back to the banks where the volatility has been this week. We might be coming to the tail end of this volatility now. So we're getting selling off on FRC. So double bottom sell off, and then rally, and then now we're getting to sell off. And like, guess what? Look, Charles Schwab. Where are you? Charles Schwab trying to make a move up. So again, Charles Schwab's it's below the VWAP, and I won't go. I don't like going long on volatile stocks that are below the VWAP. Like I say, it's trending downwards. The trend is your friend. So you want to be trading with the trend, and at the moment it's trending downwards, and has been. If you look at this on the higher time frames, look at this on the 15-minute. It's been trending downwards since yesterday, and even more so. So we had this. It rallied in sympathy with FRC's news of getting its bailout, and then it's just trending downwards since. So Schwab, it's easy to borrow. You can short it. So it's the only one that if I do short will be Schwab. But it's not looking weak enough for me to short. If it holds above the VWAP, we might go long. It's even Schwab. We were getting, so just to put this into context, Schwab on Monday we were getting like $2 and $3 ATR range in terms of the volatility. Now it's 23 cents. So it's $56 stock. 23 cents is the range. You know, it's less than 0.5%. So I'm going to go back to FRC. So nice hammer candle here. We like hammer candles. Long tail hammer candles are nice bullish candles. You have this double bottom. There's an argument for that being a cup and handle. So again, 29 might be worth a. That's not financial advice. It's not a stock pick. Just not a lot moving today. Coinbase breaking highs. I'm looking at even the penny stocks. I'm a real-time scanner here. I've got penny stocks jumping to the top of the four, and even they're not doing it on great volume. Let's have a look at Coinbase, because Coinbase will be moving up with the strength of Bitcoin. It's Coinbase breaking highs, looking quite strong. What are you doing, guys? Have you traded? If you have, Jameson, nice. Have you been to the Jameson Museum in Dublin? I prefer the Irish Whiskey Museum off Trinity Square, but Jameson Museum's nice. The reason I prefer the Irish Whiskey Museum is because with Jameson's Museum, all you get is Jameson, the different blends of Jameson. Whereas the Irish Whiskey Museum, there's Jameson in there, but there's so many others as well. If you like Irish whiskey. So FRC testing. Double top. There's your double top at 29.20, and I was a little bit wary of that. It needs to get over 29.50. That's the next key level. I've got it mapped out there, 29.50. Otherwise, we might see a break of the VWAP here, and this time it won't hold. Google breaking highs. UKRA. Oh, I can take a look at that for you. Ah. Yep, okay. Wade, that's pretty much all I do trade. Well, not penny stocks as such. I stay away from the OTC markets, but the low caps for sure. So this week has not been a week to trade low cap. So what tends to happen with the low cap market is that that's where the majority of the volatility will be. So you'll get stocks that move, 100, 150, 200-300% intraday. So you can make good bank trading those low cap stocks. When I say low cap, we're talking like floats less than 100 million, ideally less than 10 million. Price is kind of less than $25, kind of $3 to $25. I don't like going below $3, but $5 to $25 is kind of my sweet spot. But $3 to $25, I will trade a little bit higher. But those are the kind of the low float, low cap stocks that I like to trade. That's where you get the volatility. Now, volatility and volume are the two most essential ingredients to successful day trading. Where's the volatility been today, this week? It's been with the banks. Where's the volume been this week? It's been with the banks. So the majority of traders, both retail and institutional, have been, I suppose I used it on one of my trade recaps, the analogy, the BDI of Sauron has been firmly agaze on the banking sector this week. So everything else has been neglected. So anything that's moved has moved on relatively low volume, or it's just not moved with any kind of volatility or sustention. So when it's made the breakout, there's no continuation. So yes, I do trade low float, lower cap stocks. Primarily, that's what I trade, and that's what the strategy that I employ. In most of the time, that's where I would where my strategy works the best. But at the moment, you go where the opportunity is, and the opportunity this week has been with the banks. So FRC breaking out. Missed that one. This looks like it's going to be a slow burner today. Big tech having a good week. The Nasdaq 100 is up, I think, 6% on the week, which is huge across the course of the week. It's up again today, which is funny. So let's take a look at this. So this is the markets. This is the Nasdaq, the Qs. So this is up. At the moment, like 60 basis points, 0.6%, whereas 0.6, whereas the S&P 500 is actually down 0.25%. The Dow Jones Industrial is down. Conversely, is down 60 basis points. So whereas the Nasdaq's up 60 basis points, the Dow Jones Industrial is down 60 basis points. And where the banks sit, where the majority of these, certainly these mid-range and regional banks are sitting in the Russell 2000, the Russell Index, this is down 1.3%. So this is down huge amounts. at the moment, which is, you don't normally see that bigger spread between the markets. They tend to find that the markets trade in tandem and move in tandem with each other, but the spread across the markets between the different sectors is huge at the moment. IPO today, not yet started trading, but looks like it's going to start trading probably within the next half an hour. So it's pulling back from 30. What's Western Alliance doing? Western Alliance. So getting higher lows, flat top resistance, 35. So let's see. What was the flat top? Is it a flat top up here? No, this is actually higher lows, higher highs. So an upwards channel, maybe. Typically upwards channels will break. If it's a parallel, upwards parallel channel, typically will break down. Well, I've been very cautious today. I've just not seen the setups. And I think that's after a phenomenal week. I don't mind that. I would have liked to have got something on the small account and eat into that small account drawdown, but yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Just time yet. We're only 10 past the hour. The market's only been open 40 minutes. It feels like I've been doing this for hours. HUBC trying to break $3 again. It's just not got the volatility that I'm looking for, the oomph, as it were. Lack of volume on LXEH. People are starting to pile into it now, but it's still not great. Whole bunch of halts to the upside. Just still not great volume. And there's no, I can't see a catalyst for it, which makes me suspicious. I think it's a trap, you know? Call me paranoid, I think it's a trap. So I won't be trading that unless we see some good volume in there. I probably won't be trading that. Let's have a look at Mara. Bit of a cup and handle here. So 815 maybe. Test the 200. We might see a breakout. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Let's have a look at LSPM. Look at the price action and then I'll check it. LPSN. Live person. This had earnings there a couple of days ago. Wednesday evening, I think it was. Sold off hard, so it's looking for a bounce today. This was a $10 stock there, $9 stock there on Wednesday evening, and it dropped 30%, 35%. No, it actually dropped 50% overnight. So it's now looking for a bounce, but with the exception of one candle, not great volume. What can you do? This particular volume candle is like less than 10,000 so far. So yeah, live person. Yeah, guys, I guess today's going to be, at the moment, unless something picks up, it's going to be a no trade day. And don't be afraid to sit on your hands. You're not going to, have I got some tea left? You're not going to lose money by sitting on your hands. Some days, the most profitable trade that you're about to take is the one that you don't take. Or the most profitable trade that for you is the one you don't take. Because it could be a losing trade. I mean, if you look at FRC, I was hesitant to get, I had opportunities to get in, but it was just so choppy on the way up. There was no real good setups. Maybe here, double bottom here. We'll get the breakout here, kind of, what's the high of that one? Right, around the 27.75. Maybe get in there. It would have pulled back before then moving up. That potentially could have been a good entry. He's got the double bottom entry. That's probably the only area that we can see there that I'd say is reasonably good entry. Maybe the bounce on the VWAP here. But you're clutching at straws. It's just, there's nothing clean right now. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for good, clean moves, and there isn't any at the moment. That's not to say that that might not turn around. And we've seen, like I say, this last couple of days, the banks have really taken off from about 11 a.m., 11:30, 12 a.m., or 12 p.m., sorry. So just keep an eye on them. If I finish this stream and there's still nothing happening, then, you know, if you're in the Day Trade with Tony community, just keep your eyes on the Discord. We'll keep messaging in the Discord, and if something takes off, we know that everybody's going to be watching it. So days like today are not the days you want to be swinging for the fences. It's very choppy. There's not a lot of clean moves. Probably best just to knock it on the head and go and enjoy St. Patrick's Day. If you're in Ireland, go and enjoy the parades. If you're in any other capital city, go and enjoy the parades. That tends to happen in most capital cities, a St. Patrick's Day parade. And the spreads are like 20 cents as well on FRC. So let's have a look at Schwab again. Where is Schwab? There you go. That's Coinbase, not Schwab. Marathon Digital breaking up. I'll take a look in a moment. So Schwab is now down at that other key level, which was 55.50. I can hear my dog, but I just can't see him. I hear a snore. Oh, she's by the window, snoring away. Well, guys, I hope you're whatever you decide to trade today, I hope it goes your way. I really do. I hope you're having a great day already. And more importantly, I hope you're going to have a great weekend. Nice long weekend here in Ireland. There's national holiday today. I know a lot of people will be vomiting in the streets of Dublin tonight. That tends to be what happens. I don't like going into Dublin City on St. Patrick's Day. It's a horrible place to be. Probably one of the worst places that you can go on a St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, absolutely, Rex. One of the worst places you can be on St. Patrick's Day. No swabs breaking laws. I'll take a quick cheeky a small share size to start off with. If it keeps falling, we'll scale in. Otherwise, we'll get out. Oh, sorry, Kyle. I've just put the mockers on it for you. I've just gone short. Well, it looks like it's taking a big dip. I'm just going to give this 10 cents. I'm going to risk $100. That wasn't right. Oh. I'm looking at 55 and I put 53 on the stop like an idiot. Never mind. I'm kind of trying to work out why did that execute when I pressed the buy button? I shouldn't have executed. Idiot. This ain't going my way. I'm making an idiot of myself here on this. Let's see what happens here. I actually didn't want to go long on this one. I wanted to go short for the break of 55, but we'll see what happens. Let's get out there. Yeah, it absolutely is. TKRA. Is that a ticker, is it? Is there any way to set a stop on a short position so it automatically buys the same amount when it stops out? Yes, there is trade on one, but it's about scripting. You set what's known as a trigger order. If you've got a decent platform, you can do scripts, and you can put a trigger order in. So you put a stop in place, and as it executes, as that stop executes, it will trigger an order to the whatever it was. So if it's a long position, put a stop sell order, and then it will trigger a buy for the same position, or sell for a short position, or whatever it is. So yes, you can do it. It's what's known as a trigger order, and it's you can't. You have to do it with hotkeys or hot buttons to set it up, because it's you have to write the script. You have to put the script, and that's the great thing with something like a Dash Trader or a Sterling Trader or a TC2000 or something like that. That's the great thing about those platforms is that you can do the scripting and do exactly that. So Rex tells me to go short on HUBC. I wasn't feeling it to the long side today. This is just sideways chop. I'm not feeling it long or short at the moment. It's not exactly extended right now at $3. It's finding difficulty to break above it, but it's above the VWAP. So when it's ranging, it's above the VWAP. Probably not the best idea to go short on it, in my personal opinion, if it's not looking specifically at an extended level. If it's looking extremely extended, think about the price action as like an elastic band. So you get the elastic band. The more you stretch it, the more resistance you get. I don't know if does anybody remember those bull workers back in the 80s? That you know, workout things that had elastic on them or whatever. So think of it like that. The more you stretch it, the more resistance that you've got, and that's what tends to happen with the price action. The more extended it becomes, the more it wants to pull back. And the same to the south side. If it's selling, the more extended it becomes, the more it wants to rally again. So that's why you get the pullbacks. That's why you get all of that. Now, this particular stock is up 17% on the day. So will it pull back? Yes. Will it pull back and sell off? Is it something that I would say it's a good short right now? I'm not seeing a big short level, short pattern. Maybe double top there, M pattern, but it's above the VWAP. I'm not feeling it. There's a 20-cent move there if you had gone short. So, well, what are you going to do? 20 cents. Maybe get 10 cents on it. This spreads a couple of cents, well, 1 cent at the moment. No, you're absolutely, look, when it's consolidating like that, there's two ways it's going to go. It's either going to, well, three ways. It's either going to continue consolidating one way, or it's going to go up or down. And it's not looking particularly weak, but it's not looking particularly strong, and that's why it's moving sideways. So the trend is your friend, is what I keep saying. And this one at the moment, it's not trending up or down. So to say go short, yeah, you can, and you might get lucky. Go long, equally, you can, and you might get lucky. Right now, it's not trending. So either which way, you kind of, it's almost gambling. It's going to go one way or the other, but it's almost gambling. Whereas if you start trading something with a trend, you're putting the odds in your favor for the continuation. And again, going back to what I was saying about the exhaustion, if you see things trading with a trend and it gets particularly exhausting, you see multiple, like 8, 9 candles, 10, 12 candles in a row to the upside, you know it's going to be pulling back to the downside. Same if it's selling off, it's like 10, 12 candles in a row. You know that it's going to have a bit of a bounce and you'll get 2 or 3 green candles and you can take some profit with that. There are people that have strategies based on reversal strategies that are based on doing exactly that. And you know, they use more advanced technical indicators like the Bollinger Bands. They're waiting for, you know, reversal indicators that are outside the Bollinger Band. So a doji is tends to be a changing sentiment in a trending move. If you get a doji and a strong move to the upside, it's usually a sign of a changing sentiment. So that way, if that doji happens, if you use the Bollinger Bands, if that doji happens outside the Bollinger Bands, go short. Likewise, if you're selling off and you get the doji to the south side, outside the Bollinger Bands, below the Bollinger Bands, you take a long position, and very often that will work in your favor. The whole point here is that nobody knows what direction the price action is going to take at any point during the market. You never know for sure. You want to try and get the odds in your favor. So it's not like playing casino. You're playing roulette and you're betting on black because you know you've as much chance. You've actually less chance of winning. That's why the zero's in there. That's why the green number's in there. You've less chance. It's not even 50-50. So people who think, oh, go to the casino, flip a coin, it's not even 50-50. You're going to lose. You want to put the odds in your favour. You want to look at the patterns. You want to look at volume, volatility. You want to look at is there a catalyst that's justifying it? What's driving this move? This week, the banks, the whole volatility and insecurity around the banks is driving the moves, particularly to the downside. Then we get the bounce to the upside, so you can capitalise on that. Ah, it's a penny stock, TKR, OTC markets. Okay, that's why I'm not seeing it. That's why it's not on my platform. Lifecore Bio. Did I have a look at this earlier? Heavily down, but it's looking to make a move up. But I've not looked at this one yet. Yeah, no. Not enough volume. It's down heavy. This was a $5 stock. It's down heavy. It's lost, like, it's what, 53% down on the day. So a bit of a double bottom here. So potentially this could make a move up. You get maybe 50, 60 cents. But there's not enough volume for me to make that reliable. Yeah, let's go back to what Schwab doing. See how she snores loud. You know what? I'm going to take a quick bio break and I will be back in 2 minutes. No worries, Alberto. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Relax, recharge. Enjoy whatever sports you follow if you do. If you don't, enjoy whatever beverages you drink if you do. If you don't, just enjoy your weekend and your downtime. There's not a lot to do today. At the moment, it's very sideways, very pedestrian. So, yeah, let's keep an eye on this. So somebody shouted out HSTO in the chat a couple of minutes ago. It's not this kind of stock I tried, but for those of you that are looking for something with a bit of strength, it is looking reasonably strong. Histogen, $1.50. It's up 74% already. It's trending above the VWAP. It's actually using the 20 EMA as support, pretty much all the way up from what, $1.20 ish. So it's taking support at the bouncing on the 20s, coming down to the 20 now. So let's see if it uses it as support again. There you go. So that's Histogen. Not something I would normally trade. Well, not something I will be trading, but you know, you can look at the price action, look at the movement, look at the where it's finding support or whatever, and yeah, not a lot moving. The pre-market movers didn't follow through. You know what? I'm gonna go back to Schwab and get that $40 back. This is Charles Schwab. It's one of the many finance stocks. I'll say banking stocks. It's more of a, I suppose they are a bank, but they're also a brokerage house as well. And you know, this was Charles Schwab was the company that I had my very first brokerage account with. That's many years ago. We're going back about 2009, 2010. The first time I had a brokerage account. I mean, even then, it was kind of pick up the phone to make a trade or email them to make a trade. It wasn't instant direct. It was none of this direct market access for retail traders back then. All right, okay, so Follow looks like it's about to start trading. Not traded at all yet, but it's like it's about to start. That's today's IPO. Just taking a small position. We've got a break of lows on this one, so candle made a new low. So I'm just taking a small position and see what transpires. It is St. Patrick's Day after all, so I'm looking for my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I know I'm not a leprechaun. Too big to be a leprechaun, and I'm not Irish or ginger. Although Alistair would probably beg to differ. Keeps saying that I'm ginger. Does my hair look ginger to you guys? I mean, come on. Really? Do I look like a ginger? Nothing against gingers. I mean, I know some lovely ginger people, but I'm just not one of them. Anybody seen anything moving? Oh, there we go. We're getting something. It's not great volume. Oh, PRT. I'll take a look at that in a minute. Let's see. There we go. We're going to get the breakout from this bottom. Oh, Schwab. Anybody else got any ideas of what's... No, just very choppy sideways. There's been some moves, but nothing sustaining. Nothing really with any kind of good, clean volatility. So I suppose I might as well knock it on the head myself. Yeah, I'll let this play out. I think I'll let this trade play out, and then after this trade, I'll knock it on the head and take an early bath for the weekend. Might even stretch to a nice bottle of wine later. Get some food. I've no food in the cupboards. That's the question. I should put a poll out there. Should I buy some food or leave that till the weekend, and get a takeaway? I'm kind of... I don't know. You tell me. Is it worth getting? If I get a takeaway, what should I get? Should I get pizza? Indian, Chinese? Takeaway? I think it's a takeaway day. I really do. I'm just not in the mood for cooking today. So I think it's a takeaway day. Oh, that was a nice little pop down. Okay. I'm just going to cover that there. That's covered the cost of the transactions for today. So it's a break-even day for me. Overall, it's a scratch day. We'll decide to nice steak dinner. Take myself out. I'm not going. There's no way I'm going out in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day evening. There's no way on earth. It's just bedlam. Horrible night to go out in Dublin. Every other country in the world that has celebrates St. Patrick's Day does it better than Dublin do on St. Patrick's Day. It's just bedlam. So you won't catch me in town tonight. No way. Right, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Guys. There's not a lot moving. It's probably the worst day that we've seen here for a long time. So I'm going to wrap it up. And we'll be back at it on Monday. So come back on Monday. If you want to learn how to trade, check the links in the description in the link tree. And happy to admit you into the Day Trade with Tony Discord and community. Become a member on YouTube as well. So you get access. But other than that, guys, just have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Take it easy.